I understand in this body it's not the first time that it seems as though the opposing side can't seem to be able to debate the issue. And so they must come after my character.
Why is the right wing once again attacking AOC? Well, this time it's over fossil fuels. Here's a little bit of Representative Jeff Duncan attacking her for her stance on the issue.
Go and learn for yourself about this. Educate yourself on how America attained its low emissions. You care about the air quality, you care about climate change. Natural gas is what got America there. Educate yourself on that. Then we can have a better debate about future resources, future energy production.
Yes, the disagreement between Jeff Duncan and AOC is probably entirely based on her not knowing anything about natural gas or whatever. By the way, can we stop saying that? It's IHOB, it's marketing, it's gas. That's what it is. I guess it's natural in that it exists out there in the world. Lots of things do. Is natural gas any more natural than them?
Right.
In any
Most
event,
natural gas is nitrogen.
Yeah, well, I think, and a lot of methane. No, it's, I forget who it was, but someone said it's fossil gas. That's what it is. It's a fossil fuel in a gas form, it's fossil gas, that's what it is. Stop saying centrist, stop saying moderate, stop saying natural gas. We've got more words, we're gonna ban them until we're Florida. Anyway, AOC had a full response to this attack. Here's her substantive point.
While I cannot control the fact that the other side seems to have made the assumption that I am uneducated, one of the things that I can say, or what they may say about my worldview, one of the things that I can say is that while I may not work for Wall Street, that is true. I may not be here with the mission to increase profits for corporations. That is true. My mission here is for the well-being and dignity of our family and our planet's future, for our children's ability to live on this planet. That is what this amendment is about. Moreover, when we talk about education, we should all take it upon ourselves in this body to educate ourselves on the science of the challenge of climate change that is before us. By around 2050, we are looking at the Western states to be projected to further increase, wildfires to further increase 2 to 6 times. And that is just scratching the surface.
Yeah, it is. I mean, all of these things are gonna get worse and worse and worse, and we're gonna have to deal with it. Our kids are gonna have to deal with it. Our grandkids, assuming those exist, are gonna have to deal with it. And Representative Jeff Duncan needs to deal with the call that he's gonna have with ExxonMobil later on this week. That's why he's concerned about this. So what are they all fighting about? Well, AOC has an idea. She says, in case you're wondering why this man is so angry with me, it may be because I introduced an amendment to a GOP bill that would prohibit oil and gas companies who engage in stock buybacks from leasing federal lands. Seems as though I hit a nerve. That was her amendment. The discussion was about a bunch of different things. Marjorie Greene had her own little amendment that got like 95% of the Republicans voted against. That's hilarious. So basically what was going on though is legislation that would limit President Joe Biden's authority to withdraw oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve after Republicans claimed he misused the power for political gains. You can see online, Marjorie Greene has a big thing about how unfair it was that he did this in her words, to lower the cost of gasoline. She admits that he had that as his intent and it was the effect, and says that that's awful, that he shouldn't have done that. Remember, they were complaining on a daily basis, as everyone was, that gasoline was too expensive, and they were enraged that he did something that immediately, if only by a small amount, lowered the cost of gasoline. And they said he shouldn't do that because what if we need that for something else? Well, it's months and months later. It doesn't seem to have had any negative effect that they're identifying that I can come up with. It seems like it was fine. They think though it should be banned because he did it before an election. And presumably Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis wouldn't have done that? I don't know. Anyway, what the change that they want to make, Brett, by the way, is you can't withdraw oil from the reserves unless there's an increase in the percentage of federal lands that produce oil and gas that match the percentage withdrawn. So if you take 10% of the reserve, you need to give 10% more over and above the current federal lands that are being given over to fossil fuel companies for further exploration, despite the fact, as AOC points out in her extended remarks, there are literally thousands of leases that haven't yet been acted on that have already been given to fossil fuel companies. So again, this is just a massive give. It's an attack on Biden combined with a massive giveaway to fossil fuel companies. What do you think?
Right, it just doesn't make sense. The math doesn't make sense because increasing lands on which you can drill is kind of creating this like a generator of fossil fuels, right? And depleting, and the current amount of lands that we have obviously has led to a surplus in gas in fossil fuels set aside. So the current amount of land we have generates a strategic reserve. Adding more land to that will generate just more gas that could potentially increase the overall reserve, but it would do so more and more over time if we kept the same proportion set away every day. That doesn't make sense. And yeah, the guy's saying that natural gas is why we have lower emissions and why the skies are clearer than they were in the 70s. The answer to that's the catalytic converter, you dumb. And people like AOC and conservationists like Richard Nixon, who created the Environmental Protection Agency to keep kids from getting poisoned by the sky.
Yeah,
like you guys have gone so far right and so far up your own ding dongs about this that you're further right than Richard Milhouse Nixon, you weirdos.
Plus, like saying like we don't need to do anything on emissions. Look at our emissions already; they're so low. Is like the fossil fuel policy related version of like when Mitch McConnell will say, "They say that America is a racist nation, but we elected the first black president." First of all, who the hell is we in that sentence? What do you weren't a part of that. Jeff Duncan and the Jeff Duncans of past generations would have and did argue against literally every regulation to lower emissions that we've ever had. They don't want there to be an EPA. They wouldn't want there to be catalytic converters. They have no problem with lead in gasoline. These were all things that activists and forward-thinking politicians got done against massive opposition over years and years and years. They hated all of these things. They had the same position then as they do now. Regulations are bad because they cost businesses money. So don't pretend that the success of environmental activists over the last half century is justification for not doing more now. We still have a massive problem facing us.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.